Ms. Kuster?
Thank you very much. Just a brief follow-up along the lines of Representative Rice, and I want to ask Ms. Lerner, this is sort of procedural, but I think it'll get at an important point. You talked about the Office of Medical Inspector now doing a more proactive or interactive follow-up to the recommendations. And you mentioned including disciplinary action, and that seems to be what's hanging in the room over this hearing, our disappointment that it sounds as though it's a more rigorous investigation of the whistleblowers than of those that have been standing behind retaliation. And to me, and I think this is what Representative Rice is getting at, if you want to actually change culture, you've got to change the view, not just it's a first step that will take care of whistleblowers and treat them fairly, but that something will actually happen to those that retaliated against. And I'm an attorney as well. I understand the burden of proof and all of that, but can you follow up with this role? Maybe we don't have the right witness here in terms of the Office of Medical Inspector. What types of disciplinary action, and can we ask for any data that may be available as the disciplinary action that has actually been taken?
Sure. I think there are two different processes here. The Office of Medical Inspector investigates once we get a disclosure that we refer for investigation. So that process is separate, and one of the things that we look at when we decide whether the Office of Medical Inspector's investigation report is adequate, and before we report to the President and to the Congress, is have they taken appropriate corrective action? Where they've found a problem, has someone been disciplined? Has relief been provided? And that's not, what they do is not really retaliation investigations. Where we're seeing the problem with retaliatory investigations is with the IG and with the regional counsel. The problem really is that when someone comes forward with a disclosure, then an investigation is often opened up into their own behavior. So about 80% of the time when people come to us with a disclosure, they experience retaliation. We can protect them from retaliation if they come forward, but the Office of Medical Inspector is really just looking at the underlying disclosure.
So then there's a procedure that's missing, because my colleague Mr. Walls talked about you need to deal with protecting the whistleblower, you need to deal with making the long-term changes that have to the for the health and well-being of the veterans. But I want to get at the crux of the matter. Who is investigating the retaliatory action, and what is the disciplinary procedure for that person? Do you follow me?
Sure.
We're going to miss the forest for the trees here.
Yeah. When someone makes a disclosure and they experience retaliation, they have a number of options. They can go to the accountability review, they can go to the IG, they can come to OSC, they can come to Congress. If they experience retaliation, we can open up an investigation, or we can use our expedited review process to try and get relief very quickly for them. And we have been able to get relief quickly for at least 15 people.
But you're still talking about relief to protect them. I want to follow, keep going on the track. What is the procedure for disciplinary proceeding to set the example? I mean, look, that's half of what a criminal justice system is all about. It's part of what an employee justice system is about, to set this example. Here we're modeling the behavior of this collaborative approach. Over here, we don't want this to happen. Absolutely. Sending somebody to an office with a hole in the floor, sending somebody else to an office with no windows. You know, these are things that are not tolerable, and we're going to demonstrate that to all the other employees in this VISM by saying, oh, that person was let go. They didn't uphold a standard of cooperative, collaborative spirit that we hold dear in our workplace.
Disciplinary action is really key to accountability. There's no question about it. In terms of changing a culture, you have to hold people accountable. It deters future violations as well. Our primary focus is on making the whistleblower whole and putting the whistleblower back. You know, we have 130 employees for our agency, and we have to prioritize where we put our efforts. But what we do is where we identify a case where we think disciplinary action is appropriate, where someone has been retaliated against, we work with the Office of Accountability Review, we work with the VA General Counsel, and we try and get the agency to take disciplinary action. And we have several cases in the pipeline right now, in fact, that will involve disciplinary action. We are trying to pivot and focus more and more on disciplinary action as an agency, but our first priority has been getting people back to work.
Sure.
When someone's been fired, we want them back to work. When someone's been moved to the basement, we want to get them back, and we've been very successful, actually, in doing that.
Well, my time is up, but I think I'd just like to make the point that the sooner you can get to the disciplinary action for the retaliatory behavior, the shorter the list of cases you're going to be piling through for years on end of examples such as these. So you need to set an example, but thank you, and I apologize for going over.
Dr.